Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Rift. And I'm going to be using the new British 1st Armoured Division. Of course the division only just came out the other day, but it also seems appropriate due to the current events in the UK. If you aren't aware, the Queen has unfortunately died. It definitely has affected me more than I thought it would. I'm a lot more sad than I thought I would be. I knew I would be a little bit sad if she died, but yeah, I think everybody's kind of feeling that same sort of way in the UK. Anyway, may she rest in peace. We do, however, have a new king, so we'll make this one about king and country using our glorious 1st UK Armoured Division to make some ground today. Let's have a look at the units going down. We have the rovers at the start with the scouts, which have the Law 80. This 80 weapon is very strong. It has 20 AP at 850 meter range, I think. So very nice for catching out vehicles at the start. I also have a Gazelle, which is going to be providing us some recon. We have the Foxes. These are small but fast autocannon vehicles with the Radar on them. Very good for getting behind enemy lines and sniping armoured vehicles. We also have a green archer here. This is going to have the radar, which is going to give it the exceptional optics to spot things on the ground. At the back we have the rover CP. That's going to be capturing this sector, Juliet. And then we have the Bedford here with my Javelin LML team. This is the Javelin team which has like the mounted javelins, where it has like 3 launch pods. I really wanted to try it out, so I brought it in for this game. Then I have the Challenger 1 Mark 1 that's following up the MX-13 here of Sturmsource. I also have the tracked Rapier, looking very cool, and we have the Striker here as well, rolling through the town. So at the start, we're going to get pushed on by Batu on the left-hand side. The MI2 going to be dropping off some infantry. These infantry squads obviously not ideal for my scouts to deal with, but they're not going to have to deal with them anyway because they do get killed in their transport. That was unfortunate for me. Now back here we do have the Harriers on their way. The reason I'm bringing in the Harriers isn't actually to engage this enemy aircraft. It was in order to engage the Mi-8s. So that's what I'm doing here with this Harrier. I'm going to be taking down the Mi-8, and I'm also going to be going for the engagement there onto the Su-25. I committed pretty deep to try and shoot that down. I hit it quite a bit, but then the Mirage 3 of Sturmsource is going to come in and finish it off. But meanwhile, it is going to get shot down. I'm going to be continuing my engagements at the front here. The Fox doing its best to engage this infantry. The ammo, however, in these Foxes is not very high. Got my Milan 2 unloaded from the Spartan MCT. My Green Archer's in position with the Gazelle. I've got the Striker on the left-hand side that's going to be trying to engage the T-80UD. After this initial clash at the start, let's take a quick look at the map. The HGM engagements are going to continue here. My Fox also gets taken out. But yeah, check out Rift. It's kind of like a dusk map, I assume, because there's no like moon in the sky. There is still a little bit of light, so I think it's supposed to be dusk. And it looks awesome, and the lighting effects look fantastic in the darkness. I had to fall back here briefly from the Spetsnaz. I do manage to finish them off. We're still being hit by HGMs, so my Challenger's forced to fall back. Milan 2 is going to get taken out. Also, my vehicle here did get wiped out as well. So not a fantastic start for me. But my plan was to build up the Challengers, use the track Rapiers as AA throughout the game, and then also use my gun group here that have been brought in with the Warriors in order to make ground. There goes my Striker, popped by the T-80UD. The T-80UD is a new tank with this patch, very, very strong beast with 21 front armor. So difficult for us to deal with since we only have 19 penetration on our Challenger 1 Mark 1s at the moment. And the Conker's going to be trying to engage the Green Archer. Unfortunately, the Osa moves forward, shoots down the Gazelle, and my poor Green Archer is soon to follow as the T-80 takes that out. Stem Source repays the favour with the Jaguar. This Jaguar does have a 30 AP missile, so able to do a lot of damage to those heavy tanks. But my right flank's completely collapsed. Left flank's not so bad. My Javelin here just to help out if needs be with enemy helicopters. I can also fire at enemy aircraft. They of course do have the rapiers here as well, so that's kind of more what I'm trying to use. Stem Source also having the seed back here of the Jaguar. These seed aircraft, these are the French ones. They're only like 150 points, I think, but they only have one seed missile. One thing I have noticed, though, with WARNO is that people are pretty on point with turning off and on their radar. Like most players like know that that's a thing, which is surprising because there isn't really like any tutorial at the moment that kind of tells you to do that. Anyway, the Warrior trying to back off from the Conkers. I'm currently being pushed off pretty hard by all of these HGMs that the Soviets have. Like the BMP-2s have their Conkers, they've got the BRDMs with the Conkers, they've got the T-80UDs there with their reflex missiles, and also the T-80U on the right hand side, which died previously. So things aren't going great. Definitely having a hard time, but I will say that this game is well worth watching till the end, because it gets pretty damn epic as we try and make a play to get back into this game. But the SAS is going to be coming in with the Gazelle. Got another Green Archer on the way. If I do want to make some ground, I'm going to need some eyes. So that's why I'm bringing in these recon units. I'm also going to be bringing in a Tornado F3. That's going to be going for the Su-24M Napalm. Look how beautiful that is. The night sky shooting down that plane. Tornado really doing the job there. The gun group doing what they need to do, just kind of taking fire from the enemy forces and spotting enemy forces for me for the time being, since I don't have any recon up just yet. Like, it's taking a little while to arrive. I was primarily using my gun group to spot these Razvedka and Motorstrike, and I really wanted to take out the enemy Razvedka there, blind our enemy a little bit. On the left side, going to have to pop the smoke so that these BRDM2 Conkers don't get the better of me. My Warrior did go down in the meantime. Conker just slapping that in the face. And now the SAS have arrived. And the SAS, they're not really the best squads, but they're cheap recon. So, kind of good in this sort of situation where you want eyes on the ground that won't reveal itself unnecessarily, but still provides you with like very good optics.
Radio check, red 1-6, over.
Challenger's still struggling to get a value at the moment.
Red 6,
Green Archer's going to come over and try and keep eyes on things as well. I've also got now the Chinook arriving. And this Chinook was vitally important throughout the game. The main reason I bring it in is, of course, to repair my tanks. So I'm already bringing this Challenger over to it, that when it lands we can get my tank repaired as soon as possible, assuming that my Chinook doesn't dig itself into the ground. But yeah, Challenger gonna get fixed up, back to full health. Has been out of combat for a while, so only safe to do so. And I've also got this Strat Rapier that I think took a little bit of artillery fire, I'm having to send that back as well to get fixed up. But the Lynx has arrived. This is such a beautiful helicopter. Big fan of the Lynx. This has the ITO, and my plan was to try and use this to match the ATGMs of the Soviets. So instead of like just driving up and being hit by the Challenger ones with the ATGMs, I could then just instead use my Lynx to fire back. So just trying to get that into position. And meanwhile, elsewhere, Mickey has managed to get a Sultan into the backside of the sector for a little while. Yeah, got a pretty good hold over here, but we did lose the right side sector. So things are currently even, but our opponents are 500 points ahead since I've been completely pushed out of my sector, more or less. On the left side, it's contested, because you can see there is a command in here for Sturm Source, but it's still neutral, which means that they have a command in there as well. So now with the recon at my back, I'm looking to try and push forwards aggressively to engage these BRDMs and BMP2s. I actually forgot about my Lynx at this point. I just thought that I would try and face tank these HGMs, which we can do. We do have 20 armor, so none of these HGMs are going to be able to like one-shot my tank in the front. They're only going to do like 1 damage per hit. But with the sheer amount of them that they have, it is of course going to be a little bit awkward to push into. I have already started to chip these, you see, with the 2 health off one and 1 health off the other. But when these fire, they look so cool. They sound cool as well. I was really surprised how cool the Challenger gun sounds. It just sounds so nice. BMP-2 going down there, taking out the supply vehicle as well was good. Since the one on the left was getting low on health, I decided to back up. I do have also 60%, or sorry, 55% stabilizer, so can do decent on the move. My track rapiers, I was moving them forwards briefly to kind of cover against enemy aircraft whilst they fell back, because this would be the time where you'd want to hit like the Challenger 1 with a AT missile, because it probably one-shot it. So I moved up the track rapiers, but I got them a little bit too close here, as you can see, to the HGMs, and they're going to get fired on themselves. And the T-80UD manages to take out one of them, so that wasn't good for me. I've also now got the Abbots on the field, so these are the new UK artillery pieces. They do get like M109s and stuff as well, like the Paladins, but these are the unique British artillery. They're not as good as I hoped they would be. But in this case, I was using them to engage the enemy AA so that I could then use my own aircraft to potentially engage the T-80UD here. A good old depressed investment banker, we'll just call him banker from now on, did use some smoke to try and get favourable engagements onto my Challengers, which was a smart move. Allows them to kind of just peek forwards and backwards. However, it does also allow me to get closer, so you can see he is having to back off, because if the smoke goes down while I get closer with 2v1, his T-80UD is not going to be having a good time. You know, more track rapiers going to be on the way. It's super important that I cover off against enemy aircraft in an open engagement like this, because this is where AT aircraft can really do a lot of damage, because they can like kind of hover at the back, especially like things like Su-25s, and then really start to do a lot of damage. I've got the Lynx just hovering about. That's going to prevent him from coming forwards. This thing does have 20 penetration as well. It will only do 1 damage to the frontal armor of the T-80UD. But against these Conkers, it will be able to take them out of the distance. But the third Challenger now on the field. And I guess if there's one thing that the 1st Armoured Division has, it's an abundance of Challengers. And you're certainly going to see that as we continue this game. So it's starting to build up already. Got the Abbots ready and waiting to fire away again. They're going for the Conkers, just trying to weaken some of the AT capability. But Banker wasn't really letting me get away with that. As soon as the artillery started coming in, he was pulling them back almost immediately. Check out the explosions there, though. I don't know what it is, like the lighting just looks so good on this map when things explode. Milan 2. Having a go at the T-80. Jaguar does get a nice kill there. Will get shot down, however. Earlier on, I did see the enemy command coming into this building, so that's why I'm focusing it now with all of these abbots. I'm also having to dodge enemy artillery with my track rapiers in the meantime, so this one's doing a run at. Artillery currently in the game is actually really strong. They kind of increase the damage generally of like howitzers. So the larger howitzers particularly do a lot of damage. And so making sure that you kind of preemptively dodge the shots when they come in and keep your units on the move is super important. Unfortunately, my Challenger 1, the first missile that came out of this T-80UD in this engagement, ended up tracking my Challenger, so he's currently sat there just taking free shots and I can't really do anything about it. I was saving my smoke on purpose in case like an enemy aircraft came in. I wanted to make sure that I still had it available, because it doesn't really matter if this gets low as long as I, you know, have the means to fall back. I end up taking like 2 damage from that one, because this does have 21 penetration. We've only got 19 front armor, so those reflex missiles do end up chipping quite a lot. But he's going to be smoking as I'm charging him with these 2 Challenger 2s. I like end up smoking off because I'm down to 4 health. And now we're going to be engaging the Motostraki Metis. The gun group have ended up engaging them, and that's pretty much all they got to do. Those gun group are really nice because they can bring in the warrior at a very cheap price. So that was very, and then that's their use, right? Running forwards into enemy fire, basically advancing onto contact. At this point, I had got the 3 abbots here into one group. I hadn't added the other abbots yet, so this Motostraki Metis not going to be taking the shots that it should be. But look at those bombs, oh, glorious! And they also sound again awesome. There has been updates to the effects on bombs and also the sound effects, so you can definitely hear that in this game. Having to constantly move my rapiers around. Got 2 more gun group coming up though with the warriors. And whilst warriors aren't particularly useful in this sort of engagement, they are nice for taking care of enemy infantry. If he starts like charging towards me with infantry, trying to screen his tanks and stuff, then the warriors can help us deal with them quite quickly. However, in this case, warrior does bump into the Motostraki, gets taken out. My Challenger 1 here also ends up taking a side shot from this T-80UD, so that was really bad for me. But warrior gets the job done on the Motostraki, gonna have to fall back. Now we're being pushed from this side as well. This Challenger is going deep. I was kind of hoping that I could get into range of like these OSAs and the Kubs and stuff, but I end up putting myself in a lot of trouble, especially with the T-80UDs now pushing me back. He's got as many T-80 or T-80UDs as I have Challenger 1s. It's really, really quite bad. I got the Rover CP coming up. This I was planning to use to give extra veterancy to my Challengers, whilst also potentially capturing the sector at some point. T-80UD lands the last shot. Kills that low health Challenger, puts me in a really bad position because he's now got 4 T-80UDs to my 2, well 3 now, Challenger 1 Mark 1s, but these are 300 points apiece. They're not cheap. I honestly think they're quite overpriced for the performance of them, but I think they should get their special ammo, to be honest, so the penetration should either be higher or they get like a special ability where they can always do at least 1 damage at range. Like that would be quite nice. Yeah, slowly building up my air force here, getting the cluster tornadoes ready for if I'm able to pin down or get rid of a lot of this AA, because then we can just bring in the cluster bombers and try and kill the T-80s. But otherwise, it's just a matter of like building up my forces, and I didn't really have a good way to push out the enemy command. I could have probably brought in my own command on the left though. Maybe that's something I should have done. Got it into this tree line, kept it hidden kind of thing. Just so that we could offset the +2 that our opponents have. I've got a bunch of these Spartan MCTs on the way. these do all have Milan 2s. And since these have 24 damage, or like 24 AP, we're going to be able to do a decent amount of damage to the frontal armor, particularly if, like, all of these have Milan 2 squads in them as well. If I can get 8 ATGMs towards the front of a T80U, then I'm going to be having a good time. So that was kind of the plan. Of course, not everything always goes to plan. Osa going to be coming under fire from the abbots. If this were 5 paladins or something, then this would just be dead. But you can see the explosions that landed nearby only did like 3 damage. So the Osa's going to get away with that one. My gun group in the meantime going to be taking fire from enemy artillery, and my SAS patrol unfortunately taking a hit there as well, so he's going to have to do a run up. Focusing down the Kub next. Just constantly trying to get on top of the AA so that the tornadoes can come in and hopefully take out the T80UDs. It's not a guarantee either way, though. Yeah, all of my Milan 2s arrive. I'm going to be giving them the orders to spread out. Got the challenges ready and waiting. We've got the links back here. Got my recon in position. Just kind of waiting for the moment that these Milan 2s can start to do damage, but Banker is going to be pacing down a lot of the smoke, and what that's going to allow him to do is pretty much just fall back into the smoke should any of his units get low. He's also going to be moving up the BMP2s. My challenger is going to be trying to engage them. Unfortunately, we missed that shot. Yeah, these Milan 2s not doing too bad. Unfortunately, wasting quite a lot of shots on a UAZ there, though. More smoke coming down, especially as he starts to move up the BMP2s that were on the right-hand side. My track rapiers trying to shoot down the Mi-24V fails to do so. So that was a little bit of a loss for me. Another BMP2 going down. Now the artillery coming in to clean up the Milans. Also the T80U is close enough to engage the Milan as well. So I was struggling a little bit to take them out. But artillery on my end is coming in on the T80UD. At close range, we kind of have the advantage at the moment. Like one, if he's only going to be pushing forwards with one. But this Challenger 1 Mark 1 definitely in a bad spot right now. Track Rapier, however, is going to take out the Mi-8 MTA, which is really good because it removes a lot of the recon. But T80U going to be side-shotting one of my Challengers. This one's still on 1 health. Things are getting pretty bad. It's only going to take one more hit on this Challenger. And all of my HGMs are currently missing really badly. So this wasn't really working out the way that I hoped it would. All of the HGMs were just whiffing. And my Challenger was just not able to get close enough. And T80 is kind of replying with their own HGMs and main guns. My Spartan's just going to get slowly and surely picked apart. So my plan here utterly failed. The HGMs didn't hit the mark and thus wasn't really able to get any significant kills. I got quite a lot of damage done, but damage doesn't win the battles because they can just fall back and repair them and then come back forwards. And so losing Track Rapier there as well, like I just lost so many units there, for sure. Finally going to be moving up my links. I probably should have already had this moving forwards, but I'm going to have to make sure I'm pinning down the Osa, which is back here, because this Osa, as it's on wheels, can move quite fast off-road, so the links is in trouble if that starts coming towards us. We're going to get the Hell Arm to go for the T80UD, but we're going to be losing my Warrior here. We also lost another Spartan on this side. Yeah, really not good. Still have more challenges though, since I was just constantly buying in more and more. Also in the meantime, my abbots did get counter batteried, so I lost a couple of those as well. Everything just really falling apart. But if you're thinking of clicking away, do not. It gets epic. But we're definitely not over yet. It's definitely not anywhere near over yet. Green Archer gonna be holding its position here. If I move it out of cover, it's gonna die. So just trying to get as much information as I can for as long as I can. This patch did also make exceptional optics better, so that's why I'm able to see so much here. But look how many T-80UDs there are still are. So he's got the 3 T-80UDs, he's got 2 T-80s, he's got the T-80BV on my flank here. I was so far behind at this point, like seriously. And this is like Batu as well, so yeah, not having a great time. Meanwhile on my left, like I have Sturmsource, and he's using the French, so like his AMX-30s, they're also not going to be ideal for these long-range engagements against the T-80UDs. Challenger going to fall back to fix up next to the Chinooks. I'm going to bring up another one, since this one was getting low on supply. And again, they're going to be crucial to this ongoing engagement. So I've got 4 of these challenges, and we're going to start pushing on this one T-80UD. I've smoked off this one and this one. And we're making a little gap here that we're using to try and exploit this one T-80UD. He does manage to get far enough back though. And so I'm going to fall back as well to potentially repair some of this damage. The main thing I'm going to need in order to win here is just critical mass. So I was kind of counting on bringing in the challenges, just keep bringing them in and then outnumber the T-80UDs. Bring in the 2 GR1s. The T-80UD on the left managed to get out the way. I managed to destroy this vehicle. I wasn't sure at this point if I hit the T-80UD, but there it is. So that managed to get away as well. So I did lose one of my Tornado GR1s, but my harassment of his AA basically meant that one of them managed to get out alive. But now artillery coming in onto my position of the challenges, and check out that shot there. Like the howitzer hit this challenger and took away 4 health with a direct hit. It's really bad. Even though a lot of my recon and stuff has had to fall back, I still got this Milan 2 squad here, which was spotting a bunch of stuff. I've also, of course, got the Gazelle. But Link's going to be trying its best to hit the T-80U. And the front armor only going to do 1 damage. But any damage is better than no damage in this case, because if I can chip them before I do like a big challenger charge or something, then it should work out fine. Anyway, down to my last track rapier here. It's not the last in my deck, but the last that I had on the field, and that's really damaged, so I'm actually in a very precarious position right now. I've got 7 challenges. 2 have just been fixed up. I'm going to be sending the other 2 back to repair as well. Basically, what I need to do is just hold on a little bit longer, get everything consolidated, everything repaired, and then we think about making another counter push. So I've got the Chieftain Mark 11 coming in to provide me with some veterancy for these challenges so I can get extra accuracy, and I've also got 2 more track rapiers coming in to prevent against enemy air attacking us. He's got the 3 OSs, he's got all these T-80Us. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. So I'm going to be continuing to harass the aircraft, or anti-air, so I can maybe cluster again in the future, but this tornado is going to be taking an absolute age to repair. Jaguar getting caught out by the fact these OSs turned off their radar and then turned it back on as it turned away. And the MiG-31's also going to come in and shoot that down, so tough times. AMX Alpha 1s, they can do a lot of damage to enemy tanks, and see that T-80U really not enjoying that. Again, as I try and hit the OSs though, Banker moving out of the way very quickly. So I've got the Lynxes coming in as well now. So the idea that I had for this push was challenges in front, obviously track rapiers behind, cover against enemy anti-air, or enemy aircraft, sorry, and then have the Lynxes for like the longer range ATGMs as I get closer to finish things off. The challengers are getting ready in position. Last one's getting fixed up.
This is Red 2, enemy spotted.
And here we go, giving them the order to line up, ready for the tank assault. And I'm going to be starting to put down some smoke so that I can screen my attack. And basically do what Banker did to me earlier on. But now I'm not relying on HGems so much. It actually favors me to use smoke. This challenger on the right getting hit pretty hard already. Gonna have to back that off. Do manage to kill off one of the T-80s. And so far so good, because I'm in gun range of like 1 or 2 of these whilst they're continuing to hit me with HGems, and it's actually working out quite nicely. Managed to take out that T-80U, get it caught with a side shot, very nice indeed. Pushing onto that T-80, managed to pop that. And here we go, it's the counterplay. We're landing the first shot on a lot of these, and it's lowering their cohesion, which is helping us out quite a bit. Another one goes down. The Sturmsource also advances with his troops. Artillery coming in onto the tanks as we push up. It's all going quite nicely, and I've got the Chieftain Mark 11 here to provide extra veterancy. Smoke comes down. Just gotta make sure that I'm picking these off as much as I can. This one in a little bit of a bad position. He's getting shot from HGems from 2 sides, but does manage to take a T-80 with it. The Challenger's going to have to fall back into the smoke. My Chieftain Mark 11 ended up taking a lot of artillery as it moved in, because the artillery order from my opponent was like just in front of, well, just behind where I'd pushed forwards. So my reinforcements there came through and got killed. But one of my Challenger ones did get taken out. The rest are getting quite damaged, so trying to fall back and getting them fixed up. And this is where the supply and getting your tanks fixed is super important, because we just drove forwards there, and whilst we didn't make much ground, we killed quite a few T-80s. Like, quite a few of these tanks have been knocked out, which is really good for us, because it's weakened his overall force. Which means if I can fall back and get all of my units repaired and push forwards again, then I will be able to get that critical mass in order to really win in these open range engagements. Lucky there that the SG-25 didn't pick off another Challenger one, because that would have been unfortunate, but I did lose my Chieftain Mark 11. All the while, Abbott's still trying to harass enemy AA, and I also used the Abbots there, of course, to do the smoke. But I did end up forgetting about one of these Lynxes, which was a little bit of a mistake on my part, because it would have definitely given us a bit of a better engagement there, particularly for cleaning up things like these BMP2s. That's what the Lynxes would be great for dealing with, whilst my Challenger 1s are shooting at the heavy tanks. So any that are damaged, we're falling back. The ones that are fixed up, we send back forwards. And then I've also got more reinforcements on the way. So here come the Chieftain Mark 11s. I think at this point I had brought in most of my Challengers. The Chieftain Mark 11s, they have the same gun, so they're still going to be pretty effective at range against enemy armor. Getting counter batteried again on my Abbots. Gonna have to move them back. Okay, here comes the Chinook, a new one. Get these resupplied. Get this Lynx AH7 to get more missiles. And now we're in a pretty nice position here. So all the Challengers, got the Chieftains, and I've also got all of the Lynxes, plus the Track Rapiers for anti-air. I would have liked to have had more Track Rapiers, but it didn't matter as much at this point, because we hadn't really seen the enemy try to engage us much with enemy AT planes. We saw the SG-25 that just got shot down, so I was pretty confident that we could get away with using 3 here. And also, there's only 6 minutes 30 seconds left on the clock, so we've got to get something done. The Abbots are going to get the smoke order. I'm going to move forwards to the Challenger Mark 1s to get them into position. Chieftain Mark 11s will be following up. The Challenger Mark 1s will be wanting to go first because they are tankier, they can take the shots. The Chieftain Mark 11s then come through afterwards and help finish off these heavier tanks. So here comes the smoke. And off we go. Give them the order. The Chieftain Mark 11s are pushing up as well. Going to be trying to smoke off the flanks as well. And the tracked rapiers. I do end up leaving them further back for the time being. I've also got Mickey on my flank though, with more challengers and chieftains. So we're definitely stocking up for this to be a pretty nasty engagement. I spread out the forces a bit. He's going to try and do a runner with his TATUDs. But this is exactly the position I want to be in. Gun range. Got the Lynx AH7s rolling up, and check this out. Challenger Mark 1s creep through the smoke, and the engagement begins. One TATUD down, that's what we like to see. Got more TATBBs on the left. Another one goes down. The Urals were sent forwards on the right as a bit of a distraction here, but that's okay. Killed them off pretty quickly, and the TAT swiftly follows. Rapier shoots down the MI8. Take out the supply there, and we're just going to continue this armoured push. Look at this. Lynxes flying over the smoke. Gonna be revealed against the Eagler here, so I'm gonna have to pull this one back because it did take a shot. This one on the left getting hit by the UAZ. Onwards we go, continuously pushing forwards. The main thing I've got to look out for in an engagement like this is just these side shots coming in. The BMP-2 does get taken out by the Lynx, which is exactly what it's there for. Good on those soft targets. Does end up getting shot down, but the tank push continues. Just using the smoke to close the distance, get into gun range, and just chip these tanks down. Unfortunately, Challenger goes down just as I smoke it. Missed that one, unfortunately. But this is where my numbers really come to the fore. So I've got, you know, a solid 8 tanks here, and each of them can do 1 damage at this range. So just chipping them massively. Get a fuel explosion on this TATUD as well. And it just gets to the point where the push becomes a little bit unsustainable. And I actually end up choosing to fall back here, because now the aircraft are coming in. I do have the smoke already up, so it's going to be hard for them to target my units here at least, and the track rapiers do a good job of shooting down the MiG-27K. We also managed to get rid of that aircraft as well. Su-24 coming in with a bombing strike. That looked awesome. Yeah, just doing a bit of a retreat. I'm going to be getting my supply helicopters to move forwards to kind of meet us, because we really don't have much time left on the clock. But that was a really, really fun and awesome push. And in the meantime, I'm going to be moving forwards my commands to counteract the cap in this sector. But yeah, since there's only 2 minutes 10 left on the map, even if we were to get a +1 at this point, it's not going to end too well. But that was a huge engagement for us, because we killed the TATUDs, and they have a very limited number of them. So taking them out, doing all this damage has really helped us massively. But yeah, I fell back at just the right time, I think, since all of those aircraft came in.
At your orders, Captain.
Shifting forwards with the Chinook, going to be landing that next to the Lynxes, so we can get them their missiles back. My Challengers can get fixed up. I've got my rover just driving backwards and forwards here, trying to hold on to the sector. I've got it, given it an order to just go like this the whole time. It's Chinook that gets spotted, so came under some artillery fire. The Challenger down to 1 health there, which is really bad. Unfortunately, the Spartan gonna go down, and yeah, one of the Challengers does manage to get clipped. I'm draining this supply right now, look at that. Trying to get all of these fixed up.
Tank ready.
And what a push that was. With the 30 seconds left, gonna be trying to just like spread out and go again. But yeah, an awesome display of armor from the British. The use of smoke actually went pretty well throughout this game. After I started doing that, I maybe should have done it sooner, but towards the beginning of the game you guys could see that I was focusing more on the use of HGMs, so the smoke is not in my favor, which is why Banker started using smoke. And then as I have the advantage in the guns, that's when I can start pushing forwards with my tanks. So in the end, 4,635 kills to 4,970 losses. So we did go negative, but I thought this game was just a really, really fun one to play. Like, building up that huge force of challengers and pushing through the smoke like that, it was just the most awesome push. Yaxor's really trying to carry me to victory, but not quite getting the job done. Mickey as well, and Stem Source all ended up positive at the end of that, but we'd just fallen too far behind anyway at the start of the game, since, yeah, just couldn't really build up enough challenges quickly enough to make that happen. Because for the first 4 challenges, I'm being matched 1-to-1 by T80UDs, and then everyone after that is like giving me an advantage. That's basically how it ended up. So I ended up with like 7 or 8 challenges on the field at the same time, and they only got like 6 T80s. So then you can actually do something. But it just takes time. And I definitely lost a few early on that were unnecessary to lose, like just a little bit micro mistake here and there, which definitely happens in tank engagements like that when you're trying to use smoke. But a fun one, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.